Imagine having elections where it was not on the state level anymore, even for federal elections controlled within the state, from state to state, but now all elections will be controlled, especially federal elections, on the governmental level concerning Congress. That they would hold control of the elections. Congress and Senate would control these things, primarily Congress. What would America look like if that was the case? Well, let's talk about it for a minute. Introducing H.R.1, also known as For the People's Act, and you can go to congress.gov, and anytime you hear of a bill, whether it's HR, which means House Resolution, so therefore you'll see HR 122, 3, whatever the numbers come behind it. But HR1, and that's funny that they say HR1 when there's so many numbers that's already been passed concerning numbers of bills and etc. But HR1, House Resolution 1, called For the People Act of 2021. And what this would do is control the elections at the top levels of government, primarily Congress, so to speak. They wrote this bill, and the majority of the people in Congress, who holds most of the seats, I would say, is at this moment, as of late June 2021, would be the Democratic Party. But they wanted to put together this bill, and you can go to congress.gov to find out who presented the bill when you type in the name of the bill, the number, issue, and then it'll tell you where it is currently and what it's passed, what's pending, and where it's at the current moment. But in short, just a summary, I'm at the Heritage Foundation, and it says HR1 would federalize and micromanage the election process administered by the states, imposing unnecessary, unwise, and unconstitutional mandates on the states and reversing the decentralization of the American election process, which is essential to the protection of our liberty and freedom. It would, among other things, implement nationwide the worst changes in election rules that occurred during the 2020 election. Go even further in eroding and eliminating basic security protocols that states have in place and interfere with the ability of states and their citizens to determine the qualifications and eligibility of voters. Ensure the accuracy of voter registration rolls, secure the fairness and integrity of elections, and participate and speak freely in the political process. So, in other words, it would be completely taken away from the states. The states wouldn't have that power no more, which is unconstitutional, number one, because it even violates, every state has their own constitution. On top of the American Constitution, every state has their own constitution. And so what this would do would try to attempt in taking away the power from the states to hold their own elections for their senators, for their congressmen, et cetera, et cetera. And because you have a certain group or party that may want to control it, but this was presented by members, backed by members in the Democratic Party, and thank God, most of, if not, I think all the Republicans voted against this. And this one I agree with, because I would be against this even if it was on the other side. But that again shows you who wants to control and seize ultimate power. This is against the law and by so many means, and it's just unconstitutional. We should have fair elections. Every state has their own rights and their own sovereignty, including the country in itself as a collective whole. And so, some of the other three key takeaways that they mentioned is that HR1 would federalize and micromanage the election process, imposing unnecessary, unwise, and unconstitutional mandates on states. See, it would federalize elections. So therefore, if the Dems don't like the choice, we're going to oversee that. Nah. The election goes to this person. Oh, we're going to oversee this one. No, we don't like the result of that one. Nah, we're going to give it to them. And that could keep one party in office forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. So this is crazy. And this was they was trying to take legal means at an illegal approach, if you want to say it that way, for a power grab by means of passing a bill. And number two, it would reverse the decentralization of the American election process as essential protection of our liberty and freedom. Right. So everything that we stood for when it came to voting rights, our voting freedoms and protections, it would totally wipe it away. It would reverse all of that. Why? Because the federal government would now control it completely from the top down. And number three, it would implement nationwide the worst changes in election rules that occurred in 2020 and further damage or eliminate basic security protocols. So yeah, I mean, you can have so much fraud, you can have so much favoritism and say, oh no, well, we don't like that, we don't like the results, we're going to put this person in. And they can do what they can control it at their level. They decide. That means there'll be a lot of opportunities and open doors for unfair behavior. Nah, we don't like that person. Oh no, they don't deserve to be there. Oh no, they're too conservative. They're too religious. Oh, they're too this. They're too that. So we're going to put in who we want to, regardless of what and who the people voted for. Their choice and their voice don't matters. It's up to us because we're the federal government and we control the elections. You see? And that's what, thank God for, I say, the spineless Republicans standing up to the dogmatic Democrats, or demonic, with a lot of the other bills they've been trying to implement and pass too, especially, don't get me started. But, that's just why your faith can't be in politics. Your faith has to be in Jesus Christ. You have to stand up for, the truth, stand up for what's right, be alert, be aware, and be engaged. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we got to be prayed up, thank God for them standing against this. And there's so many other things that they're trying to pass that's trying to come under the radar right now, which is insane. And I maybe get into it on another video, but thank God for this victory as we speak. God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Amen.